Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Forward-looking statements, disclaimer. So last week thanks for attending. We came out with the results from our Fur Island uranium joint venture with Orano. And I'm pleased to also say that on our Love Lake Nickel Palladium project, we have just completed our electromagnetic airborne survey, and we're processing the results. But today we're here to talk about the Janice Lake copper joint venture with Rio Tinto and the first set of results that Rio Tinto have released to Forum today, announced today. So I just thought we would, for the listeners that don't know as much about the project, as I'm sure some of you that are on the call do know about the project. The Janice Lake Copper Silver Project is a sedimentary copper project, and sedimentary copper projects tend to be large, like Ivanhoe Energy's Kamoa-Kakula deposit in the Congo. And Forum acquired this project in 2018, 100% for $500,000 in cash and shares. That year, Ken drilled 4 holes into the project. That was a $500,000 program, the hardest $500,000 I ever had to raise, because people just weren't interested in copper back in 2018. It's amazing. But we got close to 6 meters of 2% copper in one of the holes, which culminated in a $30 million joint venture with Rio Tinto in 2019, literally 6 months after we drilled those holes. So since then, Rio Tinto has built some big infrastructure on the property. They've conducted 2 drill campaigns, and they've completed 1 season of geological mapping, geochemical sampling, and geophysics last summer. So it's really good to have a team like Rio Tinto exploring what we believe is a world-class deposit. And obviously they do too. The terms of the deal: Rio Tinto can earn 80% by spending $30 million on the project. In the first year drill campaign in 2019, they spent $3.7 million, and we anticipate that in the second year of the joint venture, they'll have spent somewhere in the order of $7 to $8 million for a total of $10 million to date. In 2019, here's one of the drill intercepts that they got on the Jansom showing. Jansom got anywhere from 45 to 60 meters thick copper with a high grade interval of 9 meters of 1%. So these are tremendous results that can be mined by open pit. The infrastructure is good. There's a power line that runs right through the property. There's a highway that runs just to the east of the property to the uranium mills in the Athabasca Basin. And during 2020, during the COVID times, Rio Tinto built a 100-kilometer winter haul road shown here on the left. And they built an 80-man drill camp right on the property. So that kind of shows you the commitment that Rio Tinto is making to this project. In 2019, they flew an airborne survey. The magnetic features here shown here, the red highs tend to be the areas where the copper silver mineralization occur. And the area of historical work that's been done is just there in the center of the property, about an 8 kilometer area here. And we've only, Rio Tinto has only drilled 4 targets over a 5-kilometer distance. We have 50 kilometers of the sedimentary basin remaining to explore. So we're just, as I said, we're just scratching the surface here of a copper district, not just a mine, but a district where we anticipate several deposits could be hiding under the bush in northern Saskatchewan. And with that, I'll ask Ken to discuss the drilling results just released.
Okay. So this winter, like I say, Rio got in there and managed to drill 9 holes. They had the same problems as we did at Fur Island, with a very warm start to the winter and therefore hard access. So it was a fairly short program. They planned much more than what they got. Same with us at Fur Island. But like I say, 9 holes for 2,330 meters. And that would be at the refuse target up through here. And what they had planned to do was drill the whole length of it, which is almost 2 kilometers long. So here you can see a number of the targets. It's a close-up of this area with the refuse, Kaz, which they drilled 3 holes last year, and then the Janice and Jansom areas, which have all proof fertile. And then we have a number of targets yet that are untested, and they'll be working on that hopefully this summer or next fall, or sorry, next winter. Next slide, please. So this again is a more of a close-up of the refuse area on the left side of the screen. The results we got back are these 4 holes in this fence from 22 to 25. And you can see the three of the holes hit decent mineralization. The 4th hole was targeting off to the northwest an IP chargeability anomaly that they saw out there, and they thought they'd give that a try. These 3 were based on geology from a long strike from historic holes that had mineralization in it from before. So we still have 1.5 kilometers of strike remain to be tested, and from what we gather, they intend to go back again in June to start drilling again. Next slide, please. So here's the cross section, and you can see the 3 holes that were dipping down to the southeast, mineralized at the very top coming up to surface, and same with 23. They probably cut off the mineralization and just hit the bottom part of the mineralization in hole 25. 23 hit a little more of it, and then 24, it got about 76 meters of mineralization at 0.28%, and then another smaller zone down at 18 meters at 0.2%. But the zone up here, 48 meters at 0.32%, with that little so-called high-grade zone, 3.15 meters at 1.78%. And again, minor mineralization over here. And as a junior, the first thing I would have done is another hole down here to see how big this was getting, because it looked like it was improving with depth. But Rio, they walk on a different walk to a different drum, as they say, and are looking at the big scale of things here, and just assumed, yes, there's mineralization. We've already know what's coming down, and they wanted to continue a long strike. So they drilled 200 meters to the north on a 2-hole fence, and another 200 meters to the north on another 2-hole fence, and then 1 single hole down here, starting another fence before they had to shut the program down. Okay, go ahead again.
So we're open to questions at this time. We would ask that you write it down in the chat box there if there's any questions about these results. as Ken mentioned, we'll be getting the results from 5 more holes here shortly over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I anticipate. And we'll also be attending a management meeting with Rio Tinto in the next week, and we'll get the full details of the planned drilling and exploration program for the property this summer. As the press release stated, they will be commencing exploration and drilling in June. In fact, they're going up in the first week of June to open up the camp after they shut it down from the winter drill program. So we will have more details down the line once we've had that meeting, and we can report to our shareholders the full extent of their planned summer program. So at this time, if anyone has any questions, we welcome them. Please get your questions down in the chat box there.
Yeah, feel free to type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll just take them in order. So I'll give a few seconds for people to find the chat box. It's on the bottom of the Zoom panel, and it's just a chat, and I can just start that here. And if anybody wants a copy of the presentation, please leave us your email address if you're not already on the Forum Energy Metals email list, so we can send you a copy after the presentation. So the first question, Rick, we have from Andy here is they're wondering how would Ken interpret, I guess for a layman's term, the results on the first pass, and what significance it might pose for a large company like Rio Tinto.
Well, it's hard to get into the mind of Rio Tinto. They're this huge corporation, but the fact that they're coming back again, and what we're getting from them is that they're still positive on this this project. So they'll be coming back and drilling again further on Refuse this summer. The interpretation, well, again, it's good mineralization dipping at a reason. It's not vertical. It has about anywhere from a 30 to 45 degree dip, which means you have more exposure to an open pit, and like I say, some fairly good thicknesses in here. So the interpretation, we're drill up along strike, and I know some of the holes coming, probably shouldn't be saying this, are looking not too bad for the geochemistry. Once we get those fences in, we'll have a better idea of what Refuse looks like. But again, they want to drill the entire strike length of it, and that'll give a kilometer and a half of possible mineralization along this one trend.
Okay, sounds good. The next question comes from ODS. Ken, is there a correlation between the mag high and copper grades? Why is the bullseye signature of the mag high and not linear mag anomaly if the deposit is stratigraphic? So, not quite sure. So, yeah.
There is an association.
There is an association. Okay.
Rio's done a lot of geophysics and a lot of research into this between what can they use for a targeting tool, the magnetics, the IP resistivity, any conductivity, all sorts of things to try and figure this out. Geochemistry, like crazy, they worked on this, and the geochemistry, surface geochemistry, like soil and vegetation, so far doesn't seem to be coming out so well. The mag highs, there is associated some magnetite with the mineralization. So these zones of high mag, so far are a little more consistent with mineralization showing up than the resistivity, like the chargeability, for example. You may hit it or you may not with the chargeability. It's not consistent. Whereas the mag within this corridor seems to be working fairly well.
Okay, great. The next question comes from John Christopherson. The conglomerate host is surprising compared to the host in the East African Copper Belt. What's the difference here so far at Janice Lake?
Rick, do you want to get that one or
Yeah,
myself?
sure. Yeah, I mean, this deposit, the Janice Lake deposit, is the correlative or comparable to Janice Lake is a deposit called Udakan in Siberia, in the Lake Baikal region of Russia, and Udakan is the same age, has the same mineralogy, has the same characteristics of sedimentary pile, and some workers have have worked on reconstructing the paleocontinents and suggest that Udakan and Janice Lake were once in the same sedimentary basin before the continents broke apart. So that's the main comparable. It's different than the Central African Copper Belt. The mineralogy here is copper in the form of chalcocite and bornite mainly, and it has silver associated with it. Whereas in the Central African Copper Belt, you've got more copper cobalt type associations. So Udakan has 58 billion pounds of contained copper in it. It's not small. I showed you earlier that Kamoa Kaikula have 25 billion pounds. So we think, and Rio Tinto obviously thinks, that this thing has size potential.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick, for that. Next question comes from Michael. Rio Tinto put $25 million into a company in Yukon that has a fairly large low-grade porphyry. What does that imply for foreign energy metals in terms of Rio's corporate strategy in Canada?
Well, again, like Ken said, we can't really talk for Rio Tinto, but yeah, that was certainly an interesting investment by Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto is not known for investing in juniors in equity, so that's a first for Rio Tinto. So does that bode for the future? I think it does. I mean, the Casino deposit has been around for a long time and has been drilled off, and obviously they want to have another look at it, and I think it bodes well for the future for junior companies, and maybe Rio Tinto will invest in juniors in more advanced projects. I mean, listen, we need copper. The market is for copper. The outlook is enormous. So we need copper deposits, and hopefully Janice Lake is going to be one of their next development projects. We just got to keep drilling. That's all it takes, as you know.
Definitely. Okay, we're just getting a few more people joining. So please everyone, if you have questions for Ken and Rick on the Janice Lake project or forum in general, if that applies, please let us know in the chat box. We're just getting Doug, who's just joining in as well. So we're still getting people trickling in. We're at 36. Yeah, we're getting 36 in the room right now. So we'll just give some people some time to process the questions, the Q&As. We had another question from Bernard earlier in terms of what's an economical depth for projects in Canada for copper? What kind of I guess rule of thumb, if you will, for economical deposits? I mean, it's obviously early, is pre-resource, he understands, but what, obviously in terms of speculating what kind of size we're dealing with here at Janice Lake is a pretty good start, or?
Yeah, I'll answer that question. I mean, economic depths of an open pit are always dependent upon the grade of the ore. I mean, so that's it's kind of question that's very difficult to answer. But Rio Tinto right now is drilling on average 250 to 280 meter holes to try and penetrate down to a depth of say 200 meters to detect mineralization that would be amenable to open pit mining. In terms of size, well, yeah, Rio Tinto's hurdle rate might be a lot bigger than say Hudbay's hurdle rate, or a medium-sized copper producer's hurdle rate. So the kind of size potential here at this stage, it's really just too early to tell. We can't really say at this stage. I wouldn't even hesitate to guess. But if you do some back of the envelope calculations of each of the deposits that have been drilled, Jansom, Janice, and Refuse, you can make your own estimates of potential tonnage that we've already perhaps delineated.
Another question comes from Kerry here. He heard earlier Rio Tinto built a 100-kilometer road. Is that correct? I mean, how much does that cost? Sounds like quite a bit.
How much was the road, Ken? I think the road it's a winter haul road. It was built in January, February, and March of 2020, and so basically it can only be used in the winter when the ground is frozen. Ken, do you recall how much they spent on road building?
No, I don't remember what they spent, but what's been good about Rio, well, a number of things have been quite good about Rio, but one of the things is that when they operate, they have this huge safety department. They have all sorts of extra staff out there, and what they're putting towards the project that to get their earning is strictly the exploration costs, and they aren't charging us all the extras that come along with the Rio Tinto size company. So they've been very good that way. So I don't even know if the cost of the road was factored into our exploration costs. Rick, you'd have to correct me on that one, but I think they spend a certain amount on what they would do. But as a junior, we wouldn't have all these extra costs for the because of a large company. But they've been very good with not adding those extra costs onto the cost of the program.
I think the important thing about the winter haul road is when they planned it, where it was to go, they minimized the number of creek crossings, etc., in anticipation of a potential development road once and if a mine were to go into production. So they're they're forward-looking in that regard. Sorry, I can't ask the question right now on how much it was charged to the project. As I mentioned earlier in the call, Ken and I have a management meeting with them in next week, and we will have more details on all of that, and the plans. More importantly, the plans for the summer program.
Thanks, Rick and Ken. Next question comes from Doug. Can you fingerprint or point to where you are in the basin listed earlier on the program at Janice Lake? Do you have any basin alterations that you can speak on?
Ken, I'll let you. We're outside, way outside the basin.
Or he means the sedimentary basin of the copper deposit itself. You have your zoning on the edges, and for the most part, we've been just hitting chalcocite with some later native copper has come in. For the most part, it's all been chalcocite, but I know one of the holes up in Refuse, they did hit more sulfides, a bit of a zoning showing up on one of the holes there. But for the most part, as far as I know, they're sort of in the center of the basin and not at the borders where you start getting different copper mineralogy. I think that's what he was asking.
Yeah, we got a few more joining from the phone all of a sudden, so we're just accommodating that. We have Sam and another caller joining in. Yeah. So anybody else have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box for either Ken or forum team, or of course Rick.
Getting any more questions in there?
Just waiting for some of the recent joinees. Yeah, so just working through the.
I guess 50 to 75 meters of copper mineralization now over 5 kilometers says it all.
For sure.
Especially with some, some thick high grade sections. If you go back to the, if we go back to the cross section here, you've got that 3 meter intercept of 1.78%, and there's 100 meters between holes here. So this is, fairly wide space drilling. We're looking for a big deposit. And of course, it's open to depth down beyond Jan 24. It's only been intercepted to 150 meters, and your other caller was asking about the depth of an open pit. I think we were talking about certainly 200 to 250 meters if we were to take an open cut with a reasonable ore to waste ratio. That's the kind of depth we're looking at there, and it's still open beyond 150 meters. This big thick zone here.
Okay, Rick, did you maybe want to go to, just got another question from Robert. Judging from more on the market side, Rick and Ken, rather than the technical side, judging from the market reaction, the market didn't seem to get too excited with these results. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Listen, if getting better than 1% copper in the refuse target, as I said, there's the refuse up there. We had 9 meters of 1% copper down here at Jansom. Several intervals of copper mineralization at Janice. CAS will be the subject of a discussion with Rio Tinto, as we'd like to see more drill holes going into that from their program in 2019. And most of this, a kilometer and a half of refuse has yet to be drilled. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting thick copper intervals over 5 kilometers, and we have high grade intercepts of better than 1% in several of the holes. I think the potential for finding more of those high grade zones within this sedimentary package is pretty good. So I think the market's missing something. They're missing that. We've only got Rio Tinto has on Forum drilled 4 holes on Jansom, and Rio Tinto's drilled 21 holes on these 3 targets, and we've only got 9 holes in the refuse target. So very limited drilling to date, but in my view, exceptional results.
Okay, yeah, great. If anybody else has any more questions, please submit them. I know Rick and Ken also has a helicopter tour video overview for the projects to kind of really showcase the extent and the size and the scale of the project. Did you want to share that screen, Rick? We can obviously wait for more questions as well throughout the video.
Yeah, I guess we can do that. So we're gonna. This is the size of the property. It's 52 kilometers. We've staked the whole sedimentary package that has potential to host further copper deposits, sedimentary copper hosted deposits. This is the area that's been drilled, about 5 to 6 kilometers. So we're just going to take you through for a little flyover of the deposit from Janice Lake down to the site of the Rio Tinto camp on Burbage Lake. So that we'll be flying about 7 kilometers at 120 kilometers an hour, or 120 kilometers an hour. Or is that, no, miles per hour, right, Ken? Anyways, yeah, enjoy the video. Now this is a camp move, or a drill move between hole FEM 3 to FEM 4. I think that was Ken at the bottom there hooking up the drill load. Distance between FEM 3 and 4 was about 200 meters. both of which intersected copper mineralization. And we're just flying over Janice Lake. And to the right of the lake there is the Janice deposit area or showing area. And we're turning to the southwest, following the trend of the copper mineralization. And Janice showing is all on the right-hand side there, and we'll be coming up to the Jansen showing area here. And Jansen is open from along strike both to the northeast and to the southwest. We've only drilled it to about here, and it's still open.
Rick, while you're going over the video, we had a question from Mark, just maybe a repeat question already, but when's the drilling expected to continue for Janice Lake for Rio, and how long or how large is the next program?
Yeah, well, I think the answer to that comes up. We just flew over the location of the Rio camp, flying over Burbage Lake. Our property continues for 25 kilometers to the south. There's lots of work yet to be done. And it continues from where the helicopter started, another 20 kilometers to the north. So lots of work to be done. This year, I believe we're going to probably get ourselves in. We're going to get ourselves in a good number of holes on the Rafuse target. There's still 1.5 kilometers of the showing area to be drilled, and they'll be putting a team of geologists and prospectors on the property as well to explore the remaining 45 kilometers to the north and south that still have potential for further copper deposits. They're learning more as we go along here about the stratigraphy, what's hosting the mineralization, what are the controls, the structural controls, all of that. So it's a process that I think is going to lead to some, hopefully some exciting exploration news down the road. And we look forward to the drilling that Rio Tinto will be doing on Rafuse this summer.
Great. That's an excellent overview, Rick. It's obviously you can kind of see even from that short flight here at the speed the helicopter is going, really the size of the program that Rio Tinto has intended. Obviously, a 80-person camp, the size of the road, the Winter Hall Road they've built. Obviously, they have pretty big plans for this whole entire area. If anybody else has more questions, please send them through in the chat room. Yeah, we've been getting great dialogues here for Rick and Ken. There's also a lot more technical questions coming up, but we'll save some of those for after the meeting for Ken.
Yeah, so as we all know, it takes drilling to discover deposits. Basically, what we're doing, or what Rio Tinto is doing, is they're testing each one of these target areas, getting an idea of the expanse of the mineralization, so that they can make a decision on where to focus down the road.
If nobody else has any questions, Rick, did you want to? Oh, we were just getting another joining person here, Ryan, joining. So I'm not sure if he may have any questions. So let me just reach out really quickly. So welcome, Ryan, to the forum conference call for the Janice Lake Rio Tinto results. First pass, we're just in the Q&A. We're actually just wrapping up. But if you have any questions, please send them through in the chat box. Both Ken and Rick, CEO and VP Exploration for Rio Energy Metals, sort of for Forum Energy Metals, are on hand to help you out. So we have another question for Rick. If Rio Tinto has a grand understanding of the current area, why not ask them to step out 20 kilometers up and down the trend?
There's no surface copper showings 20 kilometers away from here. There's a lot of overburden cover in Saskatchewan. As you can see from that video, it's a lot of glacial overburden and trees. So we are relying a lot on geophysics for targeting. And I think what Rio Tinto is doing is before they go exploring in overburden covered areas is focus where the known showings are, and then go to the unknown. Try and understand what the controls are stratigraphically or in the sedimentary pile, and structurally what the controls are in terms of any faults and folds in the rocks there. So I think they're going about it the right way. Let's learn from the known, and then from there we can go to the unknown.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rick. We have Ryan and Tim just joining a bit later. So for those who joined a bit later, we've already gone through about 25 minutes worth of content on the technical background on what Rio thinks, and what obviously Rick and Ken thinks of the Janice Lake results so far. We've also done a really quick overview on a helicopter ride, on the drill rig move. We have Mike joining us well. So the call today is being recorded. We will be hosting that and uploading that on the forum website in the next few days. So please feel free to watch those. Welcome, Mike. Feel free to type in any questions you may have for Ken and Rick. We are near kind of halfway through the presentation and Q&A period. So we're going through the questions right now. So if you have any questions for forum's results today on Janice Lake or anything else peripheral, please send them through. But Rick, if you want to kind of continue talking through some of the objectives for Rio, any of the peripheral ideas you may have for Janice Lake, feel free.
Yeah, well, I'll just repeat once again what we've got to look forward to on the project. I anticipate that we should be able to get next set of results out in the next 2 weeks, and as I mentioned, we are having a management committee meeting under the terms of the option joint venture agreement and we'll have a better idea as to what their exact plans are. And we will share that in a news release as well with our shareholders. The just in verbally speaking with the good folks at Rio Tinto, we do know that they're going to start opening up the camp in the next week. We've gone through an early spring thaw and breakup for April and May, and things should be really good for starting up a drill program in the next, within the month of June here, and also the ground's going to dry up enough for the geologists and prospectors to get on the ground to do their mapping and sampling programs.
Okay, sounds good. Rick and Ken, we don't have any more questions so far from anybody else. Do you have any sort of closing thoughts you may have? Please happy to share them.
Yeah, no, I pretty much summed it up. We'll just look forward to the upcoming drill program this summer, the upcoming exploration and geophysical work that Rio Tinto plans to do again this summer. And given the state of the markets right now in terms of exploration activity, things are take a little bit longer to get results out of the labs. So we ask shareholders to be patient sometimes. The labs are full up with many companies sending in results. And if we get going with drilling in, say, late June, I anticipate we should have some results near the end of August. Would you say, Ken, end of August, early September, we should have results?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the length of the drill program. They have quite a QA QC system that the geochemistry has to go through and meet before they give out the results from the core. So yeah, the results, like I say, yeah, by early September for sure.
Yeah,
we should have that information.
We should start, I think, yeah, let's say early September, where we'd be looking at maybe first set of results from a June startup of drilling.
Now, Jerry's passed on a couple of technical questions. I don't know if I should answer them now, or do you want to wait till after the meeting?
Probably after, yeah, Ken. Some of those were a bit too technical, but yeah, we'll have a direct conversation with that gentleman there. He's actually requested. But anything else anybody wants to send, please send us to us. And before we wrap up the meeting, if anybody isn't on Forum Energies Metals email list already, or would like a copy of the presentation, please leave us your email address in the chat box. We'll be reaching out to you directly. But like as Ken and Rick says, this is just the first pass. There'll be a lot more results coming. They're quite excited, and Rio already is planning to go back, I think back in June, right, for the summer program. So a lot more news to come this year.
Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in. I think this is a great medium for people to get a true understanding of the significance of the drill results. Sometimes reading on paper, it doesn't come through what the significance is, and that gentleman asked that question about why the stock just sort of stayed where it was. Yeah, it might be that the market's smart, and they expected these good results, and that's the value of the stock right now. I think we've got a lot of upside yet to go. because to me, getting that high grade intercept at Refuse tells us that there's a lot more of those high grade sections in lurking underneath all that ground that you saw in that flyover. And I think there's going to be some really good results coming out of future drill programs.
Great. Thanks for everyone for attending. We're getting some email requests for the presentation. So before you leave, if you can remember to put in your email address in the chat box if you're already not on the email list. So we'll send you the copy of the presentation. For anybody that kind of came in a bit late and wanted to get a copy of the replay from beginning and with the helicopter tour and everything with Rick's captions, please send us an email as well. Thank you for Jeremy Barr. Yeah, thank you for that. So we look forward to speaking with everyone, I guess, in about 2 weeks' time on the second set of results on Janice Lake. Though, of course, there's a few other programs that Rick and Ken's team have behind the scenes. We look forward to speaking to everyone within the next month.